Hello friends, followers and channel members, welcome back to the channel and a short video for you today looking at a new program that's been released whilst I was away, looking at adding even more immersion to our airliner flying in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, ACARS, or Aircraft Communications Addressing and Reporting System, is a method of communication used between pilots and usually the airline ground staff to pass messages back and forth with various pieces of information regarding perhaps things like load sheets, fuel requirements at the next destination, or any other significant pieces of information that the ground crew may think that the pilots might need to know, and of course vice versa. Pilots can message the ground crew with pertinent information. These messages are sent usually via airband radio or nowadays also satellite. Now, we've had ACARS in flight simulators for a good number of years now using the popular Hoppies network. There are several aircraft already available in Microsoft Flight Simulator that simulate ACARS messages. The Phoenix A320 family, for example, when you get your preliminary load sheets and your final load sheets, also messages saying that you've been delayed and requesting that you contact the ground crew with a message back to let them know why you've been delayed. This is ACARS. This is the ACARS system at work. But in the real world, you get a lot more messages through the ACARS systems, communicating between the aircraft and the aircraft staff down on the ground. Well, a new application has recently been released looking to bring that added immersion into Microsoft Flight Simulator. Real ACARS is a freeware tool available to download from flightsim.to, link in the video description down below. And yes, this will send you a lot more messages, and not only that, it is customizable, so there are some messages you may not want to receive. For example, if you're flying in the Phoenix aircraft, that is already going to send you preliminary load sheets and final load sheets, etc. The Real ACARS application will also send you these, but there's no need for you to receive it twice, so you can simply turn this option off. Once downloaded, then just run the executable file, as it is a standalone program from Microsoft Flight Simulator, so it's not like you need to pop it into your community folder or anything like that. Make sure you read the little notification regarding the Windows libraries. If these are already installed, you don't need to repair them or install them. You can just disregard it by closing this down, as I'm doing here on screen. Now, the program does use the Hoppies ACARS network system, so you will need a Hoppies login if you haven't already got one. Link to that in the video description down below. The other thing this program requires you to use is SimBrief. That's probably not a problem for many of you, as if you're flying the advanced airliners, you're already probably using SimBrief anyway. Once you put your SimBrief ID into the settings and created a flight plan, click the import operational flight plan, and there you can see it's already brought everything in for me: call sign, departure, arrival information, etc. And don't press start flight just yet. Wait until your aircraft is spawned in on the tarmac at your departure airport, and then let's go through and have a look at all the different settings. So the amount of different ACARS messages you can actually receive from this utility is quite large, but if you're flying something like the Phoenix family of aircraft, obviously you get ACARS messages anyway with their own load sheets. What we don't want to do is double up on that. Obviously you can if you wish, but that's not very realistic. So the first thing we're going to do is go into the settings just to tinker with the specific kinds of ACARS messages we want to receive, and obviously those that we don't want. So if you head into the load sheet settings, there obviously send preliminary load sheets realistic and custom. Obviously we can turn that off. We don't want that. It is off by default, as is sending the final load sheet as well. Obviously we don't need these because the Phoenix aircraft will send them automatically. If you're flying a different aircraft, the fly-by-wire or the 777 for example, then leaving these turned on means that you're going to get realistic ACARS messages with those load sheets just as you would in real life. Moving on then to airline communications, and again you can see there's a list of different items that you can turn on or off. These are all off by default, so let's turn some on so we actually get some messages. We've got a takeoff report that they will send to us. We'll have the up-block log as well. There's information on your landing, so we'll turn that on. There's also a connect schedule. Now this, the developers have asked, please only activate this feature if there are connecting flights at your destination. How it knows about these, I'm not actually entirely sure just yet. However, for something like EasyJet, a low-cost carrier, that's not something that you would usually get. However, maybe for the larger airlines, British Airways, Emirates, etc., all flying into a central hub like Heathrow or Dubai respectively, then having this turned on would actually be quite realistic, because usually those kinds of flights heading to major hubs are those that contain connecting passengers. Sending possible aircraft changes as well, again, this is entirely up to you if you want this. And send the next leg change, that is basically a different leg for the aircraft or the pilot, etc. Probably not something that happens too often, but I'll let you decide whether to turn that on or off. And then we've also got some company related difficulties. Not quite sure what messages we will get with that, but could be fun. Let's turn that on. With each of these three, there's only a 15% chance that any of these are going to happen. Obviously they don't happen every flight, so there is a bit of randomization to it. We'll leave those on for now just to see what we get. Moving on then to service communications, and this is the one that I think is going to be quite special. So sending slot notifications is a little bit self-explanatory, but if you do want more information, there's then the information button there. So it's all about your estimated off block time, etc. Sending expected gate. Now this is something that if you're flying on the VASIM network, some networks have already started doing this. Here in the UK you get that automatically, so you probably wouldn't want that turned on. However, at the moment it doesn't yet work, so it's not available anyway. Send space launchers, probably not going to get anything like that here in the UK for obvious reasons, but we'll turn it on just in case. We've also got send natural disasters, which is quite cool, volcanic eruptions, that kind of stuff, and send funny messages. No idea what they could possibly be, we'll have to fly and find out, but they're all now turned on. So the last thing we need to do is initiate the flight. We've set everything up, it's got our flight details all there, it knows that the engines are not running, it knows that we are on the ground with the weight on the wheels, so we will start the flight and we'll have a look what happens on my flight down to Gatwick. Okay, so boarding is underway. Now obviously we get our preliminary load sheet by default from Phoenix itself, so we're used to seeing that, we'll just accept that. And then I can see we've got a couple of telex. Now these ones will be from the new real ACARS system. Click in there, have a little look. There's our slot notification, estimated off block time, etc. So that is nice, something we've obviously not had before. And then let's just check out this second one here, and we've got performance information as well. So there we can see that we've got the bleed will be on, ice will be off, it's a flex departure. Now not all airlines will get stuff like this in real life. EasyJet, for example, wouldn't usually get this. The pilots decide what they're going to be used, but there are airlines whereby the airline operators will send information through to the pilots telling them what flex to use, for example, what flaps conditions, all of that kind of stuff. It's done for them. Ultimately, of course, it is always the responsibility of the pilot as to whether he's happy to accept the details, but this is something that obviously the real ACARS system has decided it's going to use as well. We, though, for our EasyJet operations would disregard it as that isn't used in real life. For example, of course, the bleed is always turned off. So with everybody boarded, it's time to push back, get on our way down to London and see if we get any other messages. Now of course this is only a relatively short flight, so it'll be interesting to see what ACARS messages may pop up. Remember from the settings though, a lot of the messages are only going to appear around 15% of the time, which is quite a low chance, but I guess that's a good thing, making it much more realistic. So after we push back, noticed we had another telex message. Going into that then, it just tells us everything regarding our flight, the time we actually pushed back, the fact that we were delayed in pushing back, and of course it says then file in paper form after arrival. Depending on the airline, some will be done via ACARS where you'd respond automatically as you can do in the Phoenix, and of course then other airlines will do it as it suggests using the paper form. For now though, we're going to ignore that and get on with our flight. Now obviously, because of the randomness of the messages that you can get from this system, it's going to be great to hear from you guys. If you are using this or you're going to start using it, let me know in the comments down below what kinds of messages you have received. Would love to see what you can get, especially as they are sometimes localized. Things like the satellite launchers, rocket launchers, the volcanic eruptions or natural disasters, all of those kinds of things. They're only going to be reported if your flight actually will be impacted by them. They're not just going to be sent blanketly across the world. So yeah, let me know down below in the comments if you've had anything rather funny as well. It wasn't long after being airborne I noticed we had another ACARS message, so clicking into that to see what it revealed, and apparently it was our airline's operations department letting us know that there were delays with the baggage handling situation at our destination. London Gatwick, I don't know, that's probably quite realistic. Whether the airline's operating crews in real life would be as thoughtful to let their pilots know, well, that's up for debate. Now is also a good time just to remind you that you do need to leave this application running in the background. It is external from Microsoft Flight Simulator, so once you've got it set up, just minimize it to your systems tray, leave it running, and then it will just tick along in the background. And I've noticed no adverse effects with regards to performance, so no need to worry about that. Next, as we were descending down towards London, I noticed we got another company message, so just checking out to see what this one was telling us. It was basically a report giving us the information we need regarding our landing. Now again, this is quite specific regarding different airlines. This isn't something that EasyJet would normally get under their standard operating procedures, because again, it's down to the pilot to decide whether they are able to use reverse thrust and the basic brake setting, but you can turn all this off and customize it, which the fact that the options there at the start for you to choose, I quite like. Entirely up to you which of the messages you want to receive. So going forward, I would love to hear what you guys think about this add-on. Is it worth having to add the immersion? Personally, I quite like it, so certainly for the next few live streams that we do, it's going to be running in the background and we'll see what messages it throws up. A reminder, let me know in the comments down below if you've had any interesting messages. Would love to see what the potentials are for things that might come through. Also, don't forget, if you are purchasing anything from the Contrail store, our channel partner, use the discount code on screen now and it will save you 10% on your order. You only use this one time per account. Also, a link to our other channel partner Infomation is in the video description down below. Using that link to purchase your Infomation products also supports our channel partner Infomation and supports us as well. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you have found the video useful, and of course if you have, please don't forget to leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell so you don't miss any future videos and of course our live streams. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all again in the next one. Bye bye for now.